Welcome to Radicards TV on Radicards.com. I'm your host Patrick, and today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Dan Greinel. He's usually a regular on the show in person, but today I'm interviewing him about his collection and just giving him a chance to share what he collects, what he loves, when he got started, and just getting to know his backstory. So Dan, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate that, buddy.
How's it going, Pat?
It's going well. It's good. It's going really well. I'm glad we get a chance to try out this medium for you to showcase you
For
at a more
sure.
personal level. Dan runs the Twitter account Sports Securities, and he runs the website sportsecurities.com. Links below. You can check those out and follow him. And
Thanks.
also,
Appreciate the plug.
yeah, of course, of course. Dan's a Mark McGwire collector. He PCs heavily Mark McGwire, so if you're also a McGwire collector, get in touch with Dan, and you guys maybe can talk and learn from each other, or maybe trade or whatever. So also Dan's sort of a medley collector. He's a variety collector. He likes just cardboard. That's what I love about Dan. He's very knowledgeable on all kinds of different sports, from golf to football to basketball to even boxing. And he's always bringing something new to the table for conversation. And when I bring him over to do the episodes, I'm able to learn a little bit more about things that I hadn't thought about previously. So Dan's a very special guest for me, a very, very close friend of mine. Dan, I've known you for a real long time. Yeah, I think I met you in the mid '90s, I'd say, when you were working at one of the shops locally here, and we
Right.
gotten back in contact when I left to move to LA, and then we went to the 2012 National together, went to the 2015 National together, so we kind of have a history. Start us off by telling us when you got into collecting. Like, what age were you, and what started the passion?
So I specifically remember '89 Donruss. A buddy of mine, he kind of introduced me, and we went out and supermarket buying candy, and he bought a pack of cards, and I bought a pack of cards, and uh, I think at the time the hot card was the Ricky Jordan rookie. I think I pulled one out of my pack, and he offered me $1.25 for it, and that was kind of what the going rate was, and I was like, yeah, for sure. I spent 40 cents or 50 cents or whatever. And so that kind of got me hooked. And, sadly, the monetary aspect of the hobby was kind of what pulled me into to begin with. But as I started collecting, I really, really just kind of enjoyed the hobby, the cards, the variety, the different years and how they were styled and what made them different from year to year. And it just kind of grew on me more as an art form than it was an actual monetary thing. So now, I mean, obviously with sports cards there's always that dollar value, but I personally really, really enjoy the cards themselves, and I like looking at them. They're a lot of fun.
'89 Don Russ. I remember a lot of star players came out of that set, especially from its induction.
It was a great year. You think about it, and that was the Griffey rookie,
Yeah,
and then also that was the year of the Rick face, the Fleer obscenity card. So there was a lot of stuff going on in that year that was really cool for the hobby.
absolutely. You also had guys like Craig Biggio, John Smoltz, Randy Johnson, Gary Sheffield come onto the market, and you had to like guys that sort of flew under the radar. They didn't the careers didn't amount to too much. Guys like Todd Zeal, Greg Jeffries, even Ozzie Canseco came out all during that time.
Right.
Tom Gordon. What do you collect specifically?
So I'm all over the place. Like I've said before, I really like cards, and my favorite player out of baseball was McGwire as a kid. So I put a lot of resources into McGwire, but I would say that's a maybe a quarter of what I go after. I like all sports. And so most of my collection focuses on, players that I like, things that bring me closer to the game. And that's all games. I like sports cards because I like sports, and any type of sport I'm interested in. I think you and I have discussed PBR before. I have a whole stack of PBR cards. I bought a case one year of PBR stuff, and just really enjoyed it because that's something that I've followed and watched, and I think it's really cool that there's sports cards as well as autographs and memorabilia of that sport.
You know what's funny
So
about PBR is that you can enjoy a case of PBR while you're enjoying a case of PBR.
that's true. That's true.
For those of you viewing, it's not Pabst Blue Ribbon, it's actually pro bull riding. But the joke still applies.
It's one and the same in some circles.
Right. What latched you on to Mark McGwire?
Well, I'm an East Bay, California native, and so Oakland naturally was my team. I was born in that area, and lived a short period of time of my life there, and so I'm pretty much an Oakland fan. And so Mark McGwire, at the time he was one of the big names. It was him and Canseco, and I really, really just enjoyed growing up and watching them. Furthermore, my favorite color is green, so it's only natural that I'm attracted to the A's.
Of course.
Based off of that, yeah. And so Mark McGwire was my guy. I don't know why Canseco wasn't, because at the time he was the big guy on that team. But I really liked McGwire. I really kind of liked his attitude, and he seemed like a really good guy. All the interviews I'd seen on TV were positive, and so I just kind of took to McGwire, and he kind of hit the scene about the same time I did. I mean, his rookie year was '87, and I started collecting in '89, and it was easy to collect him.
Sure. And he got very popular in '98, of course, with the home race with Sosa. So he was found in many sets and subsets and all kinds of places in the hobby, which has made him more accessible than ever in terms of collectability. So I can absolutely appreciate it, and I have fond memories of 1998. Very much for that reason. I remember collecting all the newspaper articles that I could find on the Sosa McGwire home run race. I don't have them anymore because they were fire hazards. I intended to do something with those clippings, but I had so many had such a stack of newspapers that it was overwhelming, and I just had to recycle them, unfortunately. But yeah, that was a great time. It was great for marquee value for baseball. Sold a lot of tickets. Continued the interest back in baseball post strike. Post Cal Ripken 2131. So I have to give credit to guys like McGwire and Sosa. Regardless of the trash talk, I still really appreciate both of those guys for the sole essence of them keeping interest in baseball in the United States, maintaining interest by fans. How many McGwire cards would you say you have now? You've amassed
total.
Yeah.
Recorded. Checklist marked off the master list. I'd say about 1,800 being the unique versions.
And doubles? Do you keep doubles?
I do, but not of everything. I basically look at them and decide if I like them. I'll keep maybe one or two extra. There's a few cards that it doesn't matter how many I have, I'll keep them. Refractors, die cuts, that type of thing.
Sure.
Rookie cards, 85 tops. Yeah, I'll keep buying those as long as I can buy them as cheap as I can find them.
Yeah. It's an important card.
So,
are there pattern variations for the backgrounds of 91 Don Russ, the borders?
I'm pretty sure there are. I've seen, when you look at the variations, they have all those speckles, right? And so there are a few that are different, but sometimes it's like, are they worth keeping because the one dot's in a different place than another?
Well, in the back, like after the ink symbol, there's either a period or not a period, and on the front there's a border variation of like, at least for Thomas, there's like one with orange stripe. And there's one without the orange stripe. But there are two versions of the orange stripe, with the ink or without the ink, that kind of thing. So there are three for Thomas that I've discovered. So
I'm not sure about the McGwire. There might be. I haven't paid close enough attention on that.
Yeah. I became aware of those variations probably, I'd say 2010, so it's pretty new to me. You know, having if you PC any guy and you get into, say, the four figures of uniques like you are in the 13 to 1800 ballpark range, how do you catalog your progress?
So I have a continuously running checklist that I have kind of pieced together. It took some time, probably not enough time because there's always stuff coming out and it's really hard to keep up with it. But I have a hard copy and then I have an electronic copy on Excel, and I go through and I mark. I highlight the cards that I have, and then I keep log of how many I have, how many I've decided to keep within the collection, if they're graded, if they're not graded. I try to keep track of how much I spend, just in case I ever have to replace or, at some point, maybe go back and say, okay, I paid X for this card and I'm able to pick up a second copy for Y. So there's some of that. I kind of have a system too where when I highlight what I've purchased and what I have in the collection, I'll keep it a continuous color unless I'd like to have a second copy, maybe because something's damaged. Then I'll use a different color so that if I'm ever out and about and I have the checklist with me, I can check it and see if I need to do something different with that card.
Right.
So that's pretty much how I keep track of that. But until it gets cataloged or until it gets archived, it just goes into the holding box to get done.
So how many cards are in the transition box into the archive that are just waiting process?
That's a good number. I would say I probably have at least 1,000.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And that's stuff that you've acquired through like eBay and trades and in-person buys.
eBay trades. So yeah, there's quite a bit. It's going to take some time to get that caught up. But part of it makes it fun though, because there is always that mystery of whether or not I have it, and so sometimes it's fun. Like, I'm pretty sure I have it, but I'm going to buy it anyways because I like the card. So.
Yeah. I've mentioned this in the past that some cards I just like. So if I get if they're in the $1 box and I just think they're great cards, I'll get another copy even if I have 5 of them already.
Right.
And some collectors might wonder, why would you need more than one, but why would you need any? Because card collecting isn't a necessity. It's a leisure activity. So it should be fun however you interact with it. So if you want 5 copies, then get 5 copies. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter. What are some of your favorite cards in your collection?
It's an 08-09 Ultimate Collection Steve Yzerman card. Let me see if I can get it here in the picture. It's a dual memorabilia with an auto. They are numbered to 25.
Wow.
And I'm not 100%, but I'm fairly certain that this was not pack pulled. This was a redemption from Upper Deck, and it actually wasn't part of the original checklist.
Okay.
I could be corrected on that. I might be wrong, and so I thought it was pretty cool. I stick to the Bay Area teams, but when it comes to hockey, I'm a Red Wings fan, and so it's the only out-of-market team that I have, and so it was pretty cool picking this one up. So the second one I have is also from hockey, and this one's is 09-10 O-Pee-Chee Premier, and this is a Mark Messier memorabilia card with an auto, and this one is numbered also to 25. Although Mark Messier is a New York Ranger for the most part, he was one of my favorite players when I was younger, and to be honest, I can't tell you why, other than one time I saw him in a chip commercial with Mike Richter, and I thought it was really funny, and I liked Mark Messier. He was really, one of those guys that produced and was successful, and I just thought it was such a cool card. So I have a small Messier collection as well, mainly autos and memorabilia.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. So the next one, I got this at one of our local card shops back in the day. You might remember it was Derek's Dugout. Derek was a good guy, and I walked into his shop, and he had this '03 Sweet Spot Jim Brown
Yeah.
helmet auto. And I'm not super huge fan of like the artificial little helmet that's the autograph window,
Right.
but the orange of the Cleveland Browns and the fact that it was Jim Brown, and I just couldn't pass it up. I really enjoyed the card. It's not my only Jim Brown auto. I've got a few of them, but this is one of my favorites. I think it really just kind of pops with that helmet, and this one is numbered to 25 as well. It's number 1 of 25.
Great action shot of Jim Brown. His signature is legible, and it's the 25 print run, which is nice.
Yeah,
kind of a unique thing with the little mini helmet.
So the next one, it's the Johnny Mac, Allen and Ginter autograph.
What year is that one?
It's 2011. I know he had 2012. And the story on this one, bought the redemption, cashed it in, and it took forever for Topps to honor it.
How long?
Probably a year and a half.
Oh.
I was really excited when this card showed up.
Yeah, 18 months later too, right? All right.
Yeah.
Love Topps,
like,
don't love their redemption program.
Yeah.
So that being produced and delivered and released in the way it was would make this a somewhat rare example.
Right. So I think it's cool.
Yeah,
so my last one that I have here, this is the 2011 Topps Marquee Baseball Manny Pacquiao.
That's awesome.
Auto. And I wanted actually the Allen and Ginter from that year, but it was so expensive that I went ahead and went for the Marquee Baseball version.
Great signature.
Oh yeah, fantastic signature. The Allen and Ginter version is untouchable right now. I can't even find them. I check periodically to see what's out there.
Oh gosh, yeah, I bet that window is closed long ago.
Yeah.
And I look for the Tony Hawk, the red autograph from 2010 Allen Ginter. I'd love to have it number to 10, but I used to see them in 2010, and I saw one of them at one of the nationals we attended. I don't remember which, but I've never seen them. They're just not. They're gone. They're all bought up. So I just wish to someday own a copy of that card as a skateboarder myself. I'm a huge fan of the Tony Hawk being added into product, and I think Allen Ginter is a perfect medium for that. Same with guys like Manny Pacquiao and John McEnroe. Awesome stuff, man. Thanks for sharing. Those are great cards. Great cards. As with many extensive collectors, we have to kind of pick a focus. So, for example, you collect McGwire and a medley of other things. Can you talk about a focus that you have within, or are you more of a broad-based spectrum? Some guys answer, I collect anything I don't have of whatever player that is. Can you tell us if you have a focus and what that looks like for either your PC for McGwire or your varied collection?
So outside of the PC for McGwire, I really look into people who are impactful in their sport. So take, for example, Manny Pacquiao. At one point I had a Muhammad Ali auto. I think you'd seen those. But those are the types of things I shoot after, people within their sport who make an impact. Like in tennis, I'm really looking at, picking up auto or memorabilia of like people like Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, just people who are impactful. Serena Venus Williams, boxing, Mike Tyson's always on my radar, Muhammad Ali, Manny Pacquiao. In the main sports, the big guys, I'm always looking in football for Marinos and Montanas and Elways and Mannings and Brady's.
All quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I do look at some of the other guys, like wide receivers, running back. It just depends. I don't own an Emmitt Smith auto, and have been kind of looking at them the last couple of years. One of the more current or pressing cards that I'm looking at is a Jordan rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I want a graded version of the Fleer rookie, and so that's a priority.
The 86 Fleer is generally considered the rookie card, but he has an 84 star that
Right.
was, released in the sealed pack, the red border. I think
Right.
only BGS grades the card because there's a mass amount of them out there floating around that people have assumed are fakes, and so a
Correct.
lot of the grading companies will not actually grade them. But I think for me, if I was going to get a Jordan anything insignificant, I would get the 84 star, and get a graded one by BGS. That to me is more the rookie card in my opinion. A lot of us collectors feel that perhaps there are a couple cards that have eluded us for years. I can name a few myself. Can you name a couple cards that you're still after very diligently, aggressively, but you just haven't been able to land or even find for as long as you've been
So,
collecting?
so Pat, part of my collecting is not just finding it, but also finding it at the right price.
Right.
And so for one in particular, when you look at my McGwire collection, it's a big hole. Is the Topps Tiffany 85 Tops. It's not that it's hard to find, but sometimes the price is just outrageous. That would be probably the crown of the collection. Would be a 10 Tiffany 85.
Are there any specific cards outside of the Tiffany that you're still searching for?
I do need to pick up an O-Pee-Chee Gretzky rookie.
That's a good one.
In addition, I need an 86 Topps Jerry Rice rookie, probably 7 or higher as well.
Do you PC anybody else besides McGwire?
Loosely, I collect Brian Urlacher.
Mm-hmm.
Being a University of New Mexico alumni, he's one of the more relevant football players that we've had in the last few years. I had classes with him when he was at UNM.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm a UNM grad myself, so I can relate to the excitement for guys that come out of UNM and are able to procure a very lucrative career in professional athletics. Awesome stuff, man. If you weren't collecting, Urlacher or McGwire or autographs from notable players in sports, what would you be collecting? Could be something
I'd
else.
probably be focusing on my other hobby, which is brewing beer. So,
are you drinking your own beer right now?
I am not currently drinking my own beer.
So, Dan, tell me, do you have any future plans for your collection? Whether it be like, some guys say, I want to build a website to showcase my collection, or I want to have a better system of organizing my cards, or I got to get to this project here that's been waiting for me for like a year and a half. Do you have any? Can you tell us about anything that relates to how you're going to be interacting with your collection going forward?
So I run my webpage, my website, sportsecurities.com. I'd like to be able to kind of narrow all my tasks as far as my collection to be able to write there a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So currently I have a whole lot of stuff that is occupying space and needs attention, and I work on it quite a bit every week, just trying to get it narrowed down. And I'd like to get that completed, kind of reduce the volume, and then write a little bit more on a much more regular basis. Get the McGwire collection up to date, mm-hmm. and keep that running smoothly. At some point in time, I'd like to open up a card shop. I mean, that might be a retirement project, but at some point in my life, I think that would be fun.
Those are great goals to have, and sounds like manageable ones in essence. Organizing what you have, better cataloging your McGwire collection, and someday opening a card shop. I think is a great goals to have. Dan, thank you for sitting down with me and talking with me in a more personal level, one-on-one, and me being able to kind of pick your brain about your collection a little bit, and you sharing your story. I really appreciate that. My last question is, do you have any final thoughts?
I really like the hobby, really hope that it continues. The joy that it's brought into my life, I'd like to pass that on to the next generation, and hopefully, kids still enjoy collecting and it hasn't turned into an old guy's hobby. Really hope that the next generation is able to find some enjoyment in it, and get past the monetary part of it. Just have fun reading the backs and admiring the design, sorting through the cards and putting sets together and all of that great stuff.
Yeah, like we enjoyed it when we grew up,
Yeah. And still enjoy it.
I still enjoy it the same way as I always have ever enjoyed
Right.
it. And as I've gotten older, I think the one thing that I've focused on more is quality over quantity. You know,
Right.
not so much that I have 10,000 cards, but I have 100 cards that are really nice. You know,
Right.
so that to me is, I think, something I've identified as a change in my collecting habits over the years. Dan,
For sure.
thanks so much, man, for sitting down with me. Really, really appreciate that. I think it was a lot of fun to get to know you a little bit more on this level, even though I've known you for a really long time. Thank you for watching another episode of Radicards TV on Radicards.com. Thank you again, Dan Greinel, for sitting down with me and talking. And until next time, enjoy collecting. If you like this video, please subscribe. Enjoy collecting. Thank you.